Did you know that clutter can weigh you down emotionally? And it's not just about the stuff, but the memories tied to it. Imagine this. What if letting go of just one item could bring you peace and freedom today? Think about the dusty boxes in the attic, or that old armchair you haven't used in years. They aren't just things, they're part of your story. But here's the truth. Holding on might be holding you back. In today's video, we're uncovering the 7 emotional reasons seniors hold on to clutter. And most importantly, how you can break free without losing the memories that matter most. Stick around. Tip number 4 is one that surprises everyone. Meet Grace, a 68-year-old grandmother who cherishes her family and the memories she's created over the years. But there's one thing weighing her down. Her home is overflowing with items she just can't seem to let go of. Every corner holds a story. Her late husband's tools, her children's school projects, her own collection of vintage teacups. Grace feels trapped. She wants a peaceful, clutter-free home, but every time she tries to sort through her things, she's overcome by memories, guilt, and questions like, what if I need this someday? Sound familiar? That old rocking chair in the corner? It's not just a chair. It's the one you rocked your baby to sleep in all those years ago. That set of china collecting dust in the cabinet? It's from your wedding, a reminder of your first dinner party as newlyweds. For many seniors, these items aren't just things. They're anchors to some of the most beautiful and meaningful moments in life. Letting go of them can feel like losing the memory itself, as if the chair or the china is what's keeping that moment alive. But here's the truth, the memory isn't in the object, it's in your heart, your mind, and your stories. And while it's okay to keep a few truly meaningful items, holding on to everything can leave you feeling overwhelmed, weighed down, and even disconnected from the present. Grace, the grandmother we mentioned earlier, struggled with this exact issue. Her home was packed with sentimental treasures, so much so that she couldn't fully enjoy the space she was living in. Every time she thought about decluttering, she'd stop, worried that letting go would mean forgetting the moments tied to her possessions. Here's what Grace did, and it might work for you too. She started by taking a photo of the items she loved but didn't use. That rocking chair. She snapped a picture, printed it out, and wrote a short note on the back. The chair where I rocked Sarah to sleep every night. Suddenly, she had a way to hold on to the memory without holding on to the chair. The same went for her wedding china. She photographed it, wrote down her favorite memory of hosting that first dinner party, and donated the set to a family in need. It was a win-win. Grace kept the memories, and someone else got to create new ones. Taking photos and writing down memories is a powerful way to honor your past while creating space for your future. Plus, it's something you can share with your loved ones. Imagine sitting down with your grandkids to flip through a photo album filled with these special items and the stories behind them. It's a beautiful way to pass on your legacy without passing on the clutter. Now it's your turn. What's one sentimental item you're holding on to? Is it a piece of furniture, a collection, or maybe an old gift? Let us know in the comments below. Sharing your story might just inspire someone else to take the first step toward letting go. And remember, decluttering isn't about forgetting the past. It's about making room for the memories and experiences still waiting for you. So take that photo, write down that story, and start creating a home that reflects the joy and peace you deserve today. That collection of books you've kept since your 30s, or the drawers filled with crafting supplies from the days you made homemade gifts for friends and family. These aren't just things. They represent who you were in your younger years. They tell the story of your passions, your skills, and the person you've always been. So the thought of letting go can feel like losing a piece of yourself, like saying goodbye to the chapters that made you, you. But here's an important truth. Your identity isn't in the items. It's in the memories, the skills you've learned, and the impact you've had on the people around you. Just because you're no longer knitting every weekend or reading every book on the bestseller list doesn't mean you've lost that part of yourself. It just means you're evolving, entering a new chapter where you can explore new joys and experiences. Let's take Grace's story as an example. Grace was an avid painter in her younger years, and her home was filled with dozens of old canvases, paint sets, and art books. But as her eyesight declined, painting became less frequent, and her art supplies started to gather dust. For years, she couldn't bear to part with them because, to her, they represented the creative spirit she'd always cherished. Then one day, Grace decided to keep just two of her favourite paintings, her first ever masterpiece and a portrait of her granddaughter. She donated the rest of her supplies to a local art school where they could inspire the next generation of artists. Instead of losing her identity, Grace discovered a new way to honour it by passing it on. So here's a simple step you can take. Choose one or two items that truly represent this chapter of your life, the ones that bring you the most joy or pride. Display them in a place where you can see and celebrate them every day. Then, consider donating the rest to someone who can use them and create new memories. Whether it's books for a library, tools for a school, or supplies for a community group, you're giving those items a new purpose while creating space for yourself to move forward. And don't worry, we're just getting started. The next emotional reason on our list is a big one, but wait until you hear reason number 4. It's the one that surprises everyone. Stay with us and let's keep going. Those expensive china sets sitting untouched in the cabinet, or that fancy kitchen gadget you bought but only used once. We've all been there. When you look at those items, you don't just see stuff. You see the money you spent. And because of that, letting go feels like admitting you made a mistake. The guilt can be overwhelming, making you think, if I keep it, maybe someday I'll use it and make it worth the cost. But here's the thing. Holding on to something out of guilt doesn't bring the money back. In fact, keeping these items might be costing you even more. Not in dollars, but in space, peace of mind, and freedom. That expensive china set you never use. It's taking up space in your cabinet that could be filled with items you actually love and use every day. That unused gadget. It's a constant reminder of regret instead of a tool for joy. Here's how you can let go of that guilt. Start by acknowledging that the money is already spent. Whether the item stays or goes, you can't change that. But what you can change is what happens next. Instead of letting it sit unused, give it a new purpose. Donate the china to someone who's just starting out and would treasure it for family dinners. Pass the gadget along to someone who will actually use it. By doing this, you're turning a wasted purchase into a meaningful act of generosity. Grace, the grandmother we've been talking about, struggled with this too. She had a closet full of clothes she bought on sale, thinking she'd wear them someday. Years later, most still had the tags on. She felt guilty every time she opened the closet. But one day, Grace decided enough was enough. She packed up the clothes and donated them to a local charity. The guilt she felt, it was replaced by the joy of knowing those clothes were helping others. And you know what? She never looked back. Now it's your turn. Have you ever kept something because of guilt? Maybe it's a gadget, a piece of furniture, or clothes you've never worn. Let us know in the comments below. Sharing your story might just inspire someone else to let go of their guilt and take that first step toward freedom. Remember, letting go doesn't mean wasting. It means choosing peace and purpose over regret. And trust me, you'll feel so much lighter once you do. What if I need this someday? What if my kids want it? These little what-ifs are the sneaky culprits behind piles of clutter in many homes. That old toolbox in the garage, the fancy punch bowl set from 20 years ago, or the box of random cords and chargers. We tell ourselves, I might need this one day. And before we know it, we're surrounded by items we haven't touched in years. But here's the reality. Most of these what-if items will never actually be used. That toolbox, you've probably called a handyman instead of using it. The punch bowl? When's the last time you hosted a party big enough to need it? And as for those cords, let's be honest, half of them probably don't even match anything you own anymore. So how do you let go of the what-ifs? Start by asking yourself one simple question. Have I used this in the last year? If the answer is no, it's a strong sign that it's time to let it go. For the rare exceptions, items with true future value, create a what-if box. Label it, store it out of the way, and set a reminder to revisit it in 6 months. If you haven't needed anything in that box by then, it's safe to let it go. Grace, our relatable grandmother, had her own battle with what-if items. She kept an entire shelf of glass serving dishes, thinking, what if the kids come over for a big dinner? But the truth was, they always brought their own dishes or opted for casual meals. Finally, Grace decided to keep one favourite dish and donated the rest to a community kitchen. The best part, she didn't just clear space in her home, she cleared space in her mind too. Letting go of what-if items isn't about being unprepared. It's about trusting that you have what you need right now, and knowing that if a true need arises, you'll find a way to meet it. The freedom you gain from letting go is worth so much more than holding on to something just in case. Now, think about your own space. Is there a drawer, a box, or a shelf filled with what-if items? Start small, pick one thing and decide. Keep it, donate it, or toss it. And if this tip resonates with you, drop a comment below and share your thoughts. We'd love to hear your story. Decluttering can feel like so much more than just tidying up. It can feel like closing a chapter of your life. That set of gardening tools you haven't used in years. It reminds you of the days when you had the energy to tend to every flower bed. Those photo albums gathering dust, they hold snapshots of a time that feels far away. Letting go isn't just about the stuff. It's about stepping into a new season of life, and that can be scary. Change, even positive change, can feel overwhelming because it reminds us of the passage of time. But here's the truth. Change doesn't have to mean losing something. It can mean gaining something new, a sense of peace, clarity, and space for what matters most today. And the best way to overcome the fear of change is to start small. You don't need to declutter your entire house in a day. Instead, focus on letting go of just one item today. Maybe it's an old magazine, a knick-knack you've stopped noticing, or a kitchen gadget you haven't touched in years. One small step leads to another, and with each item you let go, you'll build confidence and discover that change can be empowering, not scary. Grace, our inspiring grandmother, faced this fear too. Her biggest struggle? A closet filled with clothes from her career days. Letting go of them felt like letting go of the confident, professional woman she once was. But Grace started small. She donated one blouse to a local charity, then another. Soon she realized that those clothes didn't define her. She was still that confident woman, just in a different chapter of life. The empty closet became a space for something new, a yoga mat and small weights for her morning stretches, a reminder of the vibrant life she's building now. So here's your challenge. What's one small thing you could let go of right now? Is it an old magazine, a chipped mug, or that sweater you haven't worn in years? Share your answer in the comments below. Remember, every small step forward is a step toward the life you deserve, one that's lighter, freer, and filled with possibilities. Change doesn't have to be something you fear. It can be something you embrace, one item at a time. Have you ever felt the weight of family heirlooms in your home? Maybe it's a beautiful set of china your grandmother passed down, or your father's old tool set, You feel a sense of duty, like it's your responsibility to preserve these items because they represent family history and tradition. But here's the thing. Just because something was important to your parents or grandparents doesn't mean it has to become your burden. Holding on to these items out of obligation can create clutter in your space and in your heart. Often, we hold on to heirlooms because we think we should. But here's the reality. Family heirlooms are meant to be cherished, not stored away in boxes or forgotten in attics. It's okay to let go of things that no longer bring you joy or serve a purpose in your life. And just as importantly, it's okay to ask your family if they want the items before assuming they need to stay with you. If they don't, consider donating them to someone who will treasure them, or passing them along to a museum or historical group that can honor their significance. Grace, our inspiring grandmother, faced this challenge when she inherited a large collection of her mother's vintage dolls. They were beautiful, but they didn't align with her own tastes or her current lifestyle. At first, Grace felt guilty, like she was betraying her mother's memory by even considering letting them go. But after a heartfelt conversation with her children, Grace learned they had no attachment to the dolls and didn't want them cluttering their homes either. Grace decided to donate them to a local historical society where they could be appreciated and preserved for future generations. In the end, she felt relieved, knowing that her mother's legacy was still honored in a meaningful way, just not in her own home. If you're holding on to items out of a sense of duty, start by talking to your family. Are they interested in these items, or would they prefer to pass them along? If no one in the family wants them, think about donating them or giving them to someone who would truly appreciate them. It's a way to honor the past while making space for your future. And remember, heirlooms don't need to weigh you down. You can cherish the memories they represent without letting them crowd your space. It's about finding balance and peace, and that starts with having an open conversation with the people you love. Do you ever find yourself holding on to things because you fear being forgotten? It's a powerful emotion that many seniors face. The thought of leaving nothing behind for future generations can create a deep sense of anxiety. So we keep things, family photos, trinkets, old journals, thinking that these items will somehow ensure our legacy lives on. We hope that someone will cherish them, remember us by them, and keep us alive through the things we've accumulated over the years. But here's a comforting truth. The items we leave behind are only a small part of the legacy we create. What truly endures is the impact we've had on the lives of the people we love. The stories we share, the lessons we teach, and the experiences we create are what will be remembered long after our things have faded. You don't need to leave a room full of objects to make a difference. You can leave a legacy through the memories you've made with those closest to you, through laughter, love, and shared moments. Grace, our example throughout this video, wrestled with this very fear. She was determined to leave something behind for her children and grandchildren, so she kept everything that had a connection to her past. But over time, she realized that her true legacy wasn't in the things she'd kept. It was in the stories she told, the lessons she shared, and the time she spent with her family. Grace started to write down her life's most meaningful experiences in a journal, something her family could treasure for years to come. And she made a point of sharing these stories with her grandchildren, teaching them the lessons of their family's past. In doing so, she created a lasting legacy that was far more powerful than any object could ever be. So, if you're afraid of being forgotten, focus on what truly matters. The experiences you create and the stories you share with those you love. These are the things that will carry your spirit forward, far beyond the physical items you leave behind. And now that you understand the emotional reasons behind holding on to clutter, let's take a look at how Grace tackled her clutter. what steps she took to regain control of her space and her life, and more importantly, how you can do the same. Grace started small. At first, the idea of decluttering felt overwhelming, but she knew she needed to take action. So she began by letting go of one item at a time. She used the photo and memory strategy we discussed earlier, snapping pictures of the items that held sentimental value and writing down the memories attached to them. One by one, she cleared out the things that no longer served her, and slowly but surely, her space and her heart began to feel lighter. It wasn't easy at first. Some days Grace would hesitate, questioning whether she should keep this or that. But she kept reminding herself that letting go wasn't about losing something. It was about making room for the life she still wanted to live. And soon, Grace found herself not just with more physical space, but with a new emotional clarity. Her home felt less like a storage unit and more like a peaceful, open space where she could focus on what truly mattered: her family, her hobbies, and her future. The real transformation came when Grace realized that the clutter had been holding her back, not just physically, but emotionally. By letting go of the excess, she was able to embrace her new season of life. The memories she preserved were still alive in her heart, and the family heirlooms she kept were now cherished in a way that honored the past while making space for the future. Her transformation was profound, not just in her home, but in her outlook on life. Grace started spending more time with her grandchildren, going on walks and taking up new hobbies. She found joy in the present moment, free from the weight of things that no longer served her. And most importantly, she learned that the legacy she was creating wasn't about the things she owned, but about the love and stories she shared. So, what about you? How can you start your own transformation? What's one small step you can take today to make your space and your heart feel lighter? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and remember, letting go isn't about losing. It's about making room for the life you want to live. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button and share it with someone who might need to hear this today. Let's help each other make room for the life we truly want to live. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe for more life advice tailored just for you. Together, we can embrace change, declutter, and make our golden years truly shine.